had to set up another company to do this. Didn't we? We did. Because it was by state statute that we were able to do this. So we set up an affiliate called Northcentral Connect. This is a company that will deliver high-speed internet, we hope, to your home. It has been a challenge to get this project going, because we had to start from scratch. But we're very happy with where we are now. Like with everything else, we wish we were moving a little faster, but we're very happy, if nothing else, with the product that we're delivering. We have to make sure, I'll check some rapid heartbeat, that's for example right now from the left. So what we did with Connect was, we made a determination that there was a need for high-speed internet. And that was done basically from people like you saying we need that product. I talked to you probably last time in 2019 about getting the legislation passed. But then we had to start the business. A lot of upfront work on that, getting the new business started, getting the new corporation going. So we did that, and then we entered into the planning process. The planning process was chugging along pretty good. In the spring of 2020, we brought in an engineering consultant, Vantage Point Solutions, to help design the system. Work with Larry and Russell, they kind of got some of the fiber cuts planned out in the substation area. And when I talk about a fiber hut, I'm talking about the area where the internet service provider comes into our system, and we disperse it out through huts. They leave the huts, they go down the roads, we like to say, and line up at your home. So it's part of the system that kind of branches out the distribution in various circuits in various directions. We got notice probably around June of 2020 that CARES Act money was coming to the state of Mississippi. Now, something that we've pointed out several times, pointed out to Mr. Kincaid, when we went to the state for the legislation to get this business, we said we are not asking for money. We are not asking for money. We're just asking for patience. So there was not a program that came from the state. The CARES Act money came to Mississippi, pretty big chunk of money. And it was identified from Washington as to be used for broadband. The reason being, how many people had to stay at home during the pandemic? How many people had children that had to attend class? My children came back from Auburn, Ole Miss respectively, and they had to still attend class virtually. They had to take classes virtually. Something that I pointed out the other day, something that was made aware to me. They had to take tests virtually. And they can't buffer when they take a test. Those things are being electronically proctored. If they see an interruption of any kind, it raises a red flag. So they've got to have reliable high-speed internet access. And then we learned about the people that work from home, more of them than I can identify, more than I ever realized. Take into consideration the people that work at FedEx IT in Shelby County, those people that work at AutoZone, a lot of them working from home when they needed the service. So the CARES Act money, some was defined to come get rural broadband out there. And it was available to anyone that was in the telecom business, which we just got into. Now, I think for the most part, the overwhelming amount of money went to electric co-ops. And the reason it did was, when we were told that that money was available, we were told that it would probably be fairly competitive. So we kind of raised the bar a little bit and we offered to match it. So we said, whatever money comes from DC that's administered by the state, we'll ask for it, and then we'll double it. So that little piece of legislation flew through the legislature in Jackson when we said that we would do that. So we started applying for grants in July. One little caveat there was we had to spend the grant money in 6 months. And for Northcentral, we only had a small area that qualified because it's based on the availability or the federal government's definition of high-speed internet. We don't think that download, upload 25.3 is really high-speed internet. It might have been at one time, but it isn't anymore. So we had to find our area that we wanted to use this grant money in, and it made sense to start in Byhaven. That's where we did. There were areas in Byhaven that had internet service. It just wasn't as reliable, it just wasn't as fast, and the people in that area were not as pleased. So we applied for about a $2.8 million grant. We matched it, and we started building out Byhaven. And we had a pretty good bit of success. about the challenges, it's not like running electricity. It's engineered a completely different way. You're trying to manage light. It's very difficult to do. So that's the reason we've been working with these consultants. But we've had a lot of success getting the product built. We went through a planning phase, and that planning phase, the first several phases were kind of dictated by the grant area. The ones after that are going to be dictated a little bit more by demand. Who wants the service more? That's why Mike was telling you, go ahead and express your interest. So we build, we design, we build. To do this, we have to do what we call automated work. If you've ever seen a lot of trucks out there that maybe say West Tree Control, MDR Construction, odds are this is something that's somewhat related to the fiber project. We're trying to clear the lines. We're trying to make sure that the poles are of a proper class, proper height to accommodate this new fiber in the telecom space. We don't want our telecom contractors or our telecom employees having to get up too close to the electrical space. We're going to talk about safety all the time around here. It's going to be a culture. It's going to be a culture on the electric side. It's going to be a culture on the telecom side. So that's the reason we're probably spending more time, more money, and putting forth a greater effort on our make-ready to make sure the trees are clear, poles are the right size, and not change them out. And the good byproduct is we're kind of hardening the system. We've had some storms that we've weathered very well because we upgraded a lot of poles and getting our clearances in place. From there we go, we put the fiber on the pole. We bring in people and do that. That moves along real well too. People start subscribing to the service. This is where we get a bottleneck. And you've heard this, I'm sure, for months, and you're sick of hearing it, but it's still around. Some of the problem is just is the labor issue, trying to get enough people, enough contractors to do the work. But another issue is we're running fiber to existing homes. So this isn't like if you build a house and you've got a big construction project out there. We come in and we run a trench through your front yard and run the electric service. When you move in your house, everything kind of gets squared away and settled. Now we're coming in after that now. So we're running a trencher through your yard that you want it kept in a certain way. Maybe some people that own their home aren't really sure where their telephone service comes in or their water line. We try our best to avoid it, but we do get there from time to time. We try to locate them first. We try to get the telecom companies and others to locate them. But I think it would stand to reason that if you're a company, you know that a company's come in behind you to replace you, you're not real excited about locating your lines for them. So we've had some problems out there. It's a slow process. We're trying to throw more resources at it, but that's the challenge. The design, the construction, the fiber's gone well. The installation has gone well. It's just that little bit different trying to get it from the road and get it to the house. And I ask Russell every time I see him, how are we going to speed this up? We have a little back and forth. And we come up with short-term solutions, work on long-term solutions. So I think fiber construction is going on Russ's head probably 27 hours a day if that exists. So, you know, that's kind of really what we're focusing on right now. We did harden that substation in Byhalia. We are trying to meet the demand. Folks, if you haven't been out there, my friends of Volvo, that is a booming area. That is one of the hottest areas in the country right now for economic development. And Justin is toting the water. A lot of it. Don't wear him out, but he's doing a great job. Prospects all over the place out there. So of course we have power supply concerns, and trying to make sure we address that all the time. Maybe some more specific projects that we're working on looking forward. We are working on a community solar project. When I say that, I'm talking about a project where we bring in a third party. We basically eliminate Northcentral Electric Cooperative's risk in this, where someone actually comes in, finds the land, purchases the land, and we do a contract to buy the power from them at a price that's roughly half of where our wholesale cost is right now. We can't do it on a huge scale, but TVA, our regulator, power provider, has given us a flexibility clause to where we can bring in a certain percentage of our overall consumption and get it from another source. It also comes with this would be certain environmental credits that we might could extend to people that want to put industry here. So we're excited about that. We are going to probably place in our service area some electric vehicle chargers.